The War of 1812 is a largely forgotten event in United States history. The British barely acknowledge it happened. President James Madison's wife, Dolly, assisted by Madison's personal servant, Paul Jennings, quizzed 21st century contestants about events that affected Washington, D.C. 200 years ago. What do you know about the War of 1812?
Well, I think I know a lot about it.
Absolutely nothing.
Just when was the War of 1812?
I'm guessing it started in 1812.
It was in 1812.
Is that a trick question?
1812.
History buffs, or those who just took the Dumbarton House tour, can even provide a date range.
It was from 1812 until 1815.
1812 to 1815.
Oh, aren't they wonderful? Got it just right.
Although Dolly Payne had a strict Quaker upbringing, after marrying her second husband, Virginia politician James Madison, she became the new capital city's premier hostess for President Thomas Jefferson, beginning in 1801, while Madison served as Secretary of State. And then, in 1809, she became the Presidentitress of the United States. Mrs. Madison was known for making her guests feel at ease. No matter what your station in life, you were always welcomed at the White House. All is calm now at the Dumbarton House in the Washington neighborhood of Georgetown. But on August 24th, 1814, when the estate was called Bellevue, Washington was under attack by the British. There were several reasons for the United States to declare war on Great Britain. Do you know even one of them?
What maritime reason was a main cause for the War of 1812? Was it A, British taking American seamen off their ships and forcing them to serve in the Royal Navy against Napoleon? B, Britain preventing American trade with China? C, Britain blockading American seaports? Or D, all of the above?
Okay. D?
Mr. Jennings?
I'm sorry, it is not D, but it's one of those.
A.
Yes, that was a very major concern at the time.
Over 6,000 American seamen were taken off their ships and forced to serve in the Royal Navy against Napoleon from 1793 to 1814. The British stopped impressing American seamen when Napoleon Bonaparte fell from power in France in 1814.
Who was the U.S. president when the United States declared war on Great Britain in June of 1812? Was it A, James Madison, B, Thomas Jefferson, C, John Adams, or D, Mr. James Monroe?
You know, I know it wasn't Madison. He inherited that, if I'm not mistaken, so I think it was James Monroe.
I'm going to say Madison.
President James Madison.
Mr. Jennings?
He is correct.
Now, how many stars and stripes does the Star-Spangled Banner have? Is it A, 13 stars and 13 stripes, B, 15 stars and 15 stripes, C, 15 stars and 13 straps, or D, 13 stars and 15 straps?
There's 13 stripes and 15 stars.
No, it had the stripes. And that's the question is, do you want to, I'm trying to remember whether it's 13 stars and 15 stripes or 15 stars and 15 stripes. I'm going to go for
I'm going to go with 13 stars, 13 stripes, because that is a fancy picture right there.
Well, it is a nice picture, but that is the incorrect answer.
Okay, that's the Star-Spangled Banner because it's got the big hole in it and it's ragged on the edges. So I think it's B.
15 and 15.
All right, Mr. Jennings?
They are correct.
Which famous American song was written during the War of 1812? Was it A, the Star-Spangled Banner, B, America the Beautiful, C, You're a Grand Old Flag, or D, My Country 'Tis of Thee?
B.
Was that right, Mr. Jennings?
That is not right.
Let's go A. Definitely.
Okay. A.
Okay, I think I know this one because I've been to the American History Museum and seen the actual Star Spangled Banner, which I know was damaged in the War of 1812, so I'm going to go with the Star Spangled Banner.
Great answer.
When asked if he thought the British would attack Washington, which cabinet member said no? Baltimore is the place that is much more consequence. Was it A, Secretary of War John Armstrong? B, Secretary of State James Monroe? C, Secretary of the Navy William Jones? Or D, Attorney General Richard Rush?
When I think of the British, I think of ships and being on the water, and naturally, I'm just going to zero in on it and say Secretary of the Navy William Jones.
I think it was John Armstrong.
It was Secretary of War John Armstrong, because he is the individual that felt that we didn't have to defend Washington at all. They were going to go straight for Baltimore, that nest of pirates.
And he is correct.
Oh, well done, sir.
Why did the British invade Washington? A, to steal money from the treasury. B, as repayment for the success of the American Revolution. C, to punish James Madison for fleeing the capital city. D, a reprisal for the United States having burned York, Canada, now Toronto.
I think because the war probably took a great deal of money to wage for the British, they probably wanted to raid the treasury. Is that the right answer?
No.
Probably we did something to Canada and that's why they were angry at us. Correct?
Correct answer is D, in reprisal for the United States having burned York, Canada.
Now, what did I plan to do on August 24th, 1814? A, have President Madison and his cabinet members and military commanders to dinner at the White House after winning the Battle of Bladensburg. B, go bowling on the South Lawn. C, have an ice cream social with my friends. Or D, do laundry and mending.
I don't know. I think it is A.
Mr. Jennings?
They are correct again.
Where did my friend Major Charles Carroll take me after leaving the White House on August 24th, 1814, as the British invaded Washington? Was it A, the Capitol? B, the Octagon House? C, Arlington House in Virginia? Or D, right here at Dumbarton House, which at that time was called Bellevue?
Don't believe that it's A or B, so I will guess and say D.
That's one question that I know, that they stopped at Bellevue on their escape from Washington.
Mr. Jennings?
She is correct.
What is a privateer? A, a privately owned ship with its government's letter of marque and reprisal to legally capture enemy ships. B, a pirate ship with no government support. C, a rogue naval ship. Or D, a sea captain with a peg leg and a parrot.
Privateer. I think I saw a cartoon about this once. It's a sea captain with a peg leg and a parrot.
It's got to be an independent pirate ship, so I'm going to say B.
I'll always pick the longest answer.
Correct.
They are correct.
Now that is a strategy I haven't heard yet.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Fortek. I'm the bosun on board Pride of Baltimore 2 out of Baltimore, Maryland. She's a representative of a topsail schooner that was used during the War of 1812 as a privateer. How many ships did American privateers capture during the War of 1812? A, 254, B, 517, C, 23, or D, 1,300.
And I'm going to go against my instincts and say 1,300 because it just seems outrageous.
Well, I think it's 1,300. We know that because we're descended from a privateer.
D, they captured 1,300 British merchant vessels during the War of 1812.
Now, what did Treasury Secretary George W. Campbell give to James Madison as the president left the White House for the Battle of Bladensburg? Was it A, his hat? B, his resignation? C, his pistol? Or D, his prayers?
I go with pistol. I go with prayers, actually.
Okay.
Anyway, which one?
I can see. That's
okay.
D, his prayers.
Mr. Jennings.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Either his hat or his pistol. I'm gonna guess and say hat.
His hat.
Okay, your tone suggests maybe not.
As the president was heading for the Battle of Bladensburg, I'm going to go with his pistol. I would hope he gave him his pistol.
And he is correct about that one.
Oh, that is wonderful. You are an expert.
Dolly Madison was the first lady to create a charitable institution. What was it? A, girls' orphanage. B, soup kitchen. C, public library. Or D, veterans hospital.
I don't know. My guess is that it's a hospital because there was just a war.
Girls' orphanage.
That's a great answer. Congratulations.
When did James Madison sign the Treaty of Ghent that ended the War of 1812? Was it A, July 4th, 1814? B, December 24th, 1814? C, January 8th, 1815? Or D, February 17th, 1815?
Wild guess, I'll go with D, February.
I think the first one's a trick. July 4th, they wouldn't. I mean, that's just to suck you in.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other one's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's going. It was very late. I think the war ended a long time afterwards. I think. So, but that's tricky. They're very close. January, February. What do you think? February. D. Yeah, D.
D, Mr. Jennings?
They are correct.
Very good. Yes, that's teamwork. That's perfect. Where did President James Madison sign and ratify the Treaty of Ghent, which ended the War of 1812? Was it A, the White House, B, the Capitol, C, the Octagon, or D, Fort McHenry?
The year before, the White House had been burned. I don't think they had time to repair it by this point. Capitol, likewise, burned the year before. Fort McHenry was not really part of the government social scene, whatever. I'm going to go with the Octagon.
And he is correct.
Oh, very good. What was my favorite flavor of ice cream? It was very popular during colonial times. Now, was it A, vanilla, B, pistachio, C, bourbon, or D, oyster? I believe we have him stumped.
Pistachio. I think bourbon's probably a good choice, but
pistachio. It's not pistachio.
No. Which one is it?
I say bourbon. He says oyster.
The correct answer was
oyster.
Really?
That's my favorite flavor too.
Oyster.
Oyster. Oyster.
Oysters?
I mean, oysters.
I've heard it's been oyster. This sounds disgusting.
Ladies' fashions in 1812 were based on the society that Washington wished to emulate. Now, what did the new capital city fancy itself to be? A, the new Athens. B, the new London. C, the new Paris. Or D, the new Rome.
Oh, well, let's say it was based on the Napoleonic fashions of Paris.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Well, democracy, I'm going to guess A, the new Athens.
I would say the new Athens.
It sounds good. Mr. Jennings?
That is incorrect.
Oh. No. And
what's the correct answer?
The correct answer is D, the new Rome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamie Trost. I'm the captain of Pride of Baltimore 2, inbound right now in the outer harbor of Baltimore towards Fort McHenry and into the inner harbor, trying to traverse a route that the British could not themselves gain access to. They came in 1814 in September to invade Baltimore. For what reason? A, to destroy the textile mills of the Baltimore area. B, to put an end to the beginnings of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, a tow path that allowed barges to get from the Ohio River down to the Chesapeake Bay and supply the Chesapeake Bay. C, because they were on a general campaign of terror, pillaging and burning American cities to disrupt the American economy. Or D, because they wanted to put an end to the shipyards that were building the Baltimore schooners serving as privateers.
I was trying to decide between B and D.
Yeah, because
either the canal or the schooners.
Both by the water.
Maybe D. Maybe D.
To destroy the shipyards.
Correct answer, of course, is D. The privateers out of Baltimore were more successful than any other privateers in the fleet of American ships, and the British were none too pleased at their successes.
Which new weapon was introduced by the British at the Battle of Bladensburg?
The Congreve rocket was a new weapon introduced by the British. It was actually used in 1813 at the Battle of Havre de Grace. A local man of the name of Webster, who was near the battery in Havre de Grace, was hit on the head by a Congreve rocket. So these new weapons scared the Maryland militia, who ran when they saw these terrifying weapons coming towards them.
Who is credited with publishing the first White House memoir? Was it A, Thomas Jefferson, B, James Madison, C, Paul Jennings, or D, John Adams?
Oh, I think Paul Jennings for sure. What do you think? I mean, here he is right here. I mean, we gotta.
Is that your answer?
He's being pretty non-committal.
Yeah.
Very modest, I think, Paul Jennings. Definitely Paul Jennings.
You are correct. What was my favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oysters?
Oyster.
Oyster? Oyster? You're kidding. Why don't we have oyster ice cream anymore?
This is an oyster soup recipe from the Virginia housewife. Wash and drain 2 quarts of oysters. Put them on with 3 quarts of water, 3 onions chopped up, 2 or 3 slices of lean ham, and pepper and salt. Boil it till reduced 1/2. Strain it through a sieve, return the liquid into the pot, and put in 1 quart of fresh oysters. Boil it till they're sufficiently done, and thicken the soup with 4 spoonfuls of flour, 1 cup of rich cream, and the yolks of 6 new-laid eggs beaten well. Boil it a few minutes after the thickening is put in. Take care it does not curdle and that the flour is not in lumps. Serve it up with the last oysters that were put in. Now, if the flavor of thyme be agreeable, you may put in a little, but take care that it does not boil in it long enough to discolor the soup. Now, to make oyster ice cream, make this rich soup, strain it from the oysters, and freeze it.
It was oyster ice cream. No, see, I can't do
Go
it
ahead,
now.
keep going, just keep going, keep going.